Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Fearless Generations with Terry Sayer and Kelly Fox.
Hello and welcome to Fearless Generations, 12 Steps to Freedom. It is Kelly Fox, and we are talking Step 8, Possibilities, and tonight we're talking all about how life is exciting when we focus on those possibilities, when we see those possibilities, when we go after those possibilities, and I'm super excited to have this conversation tonight. So let's get it going. Please welcome my beautiful co-host, Terry Sayer. How are you doing tonight, Terry?
I am doing just great. I just looked at the clock, and here I am.
Well, we are glad that you looked at the clock. We have on one of our favorite guest coaches tonight, and she has been on the show several times, but it is never enough. So please welcome back Trish March.
Yay!
Thank you, ladies. It's great to be here. I'm excited.
It is so great to have you.
This is a perfect topic.
Yes, absolutely. So, Trish, start us off by reminding the audience what is it that you get to do and who's it that you get to serve?
Well, thanks, Kelly. I am a coach that works with clients that have lost themselves in their life. They've lost their spark. And I just have the pleasure of helping people, figure out who they are, what their gifts are, how they can bring them forward and get back into really embracing the greatness of who they are. I have been taking a little bit of a break over the last 7 months just because I've had some family stuff going on. So I'm hoping this summer to get back into it and get back into coaching clients again and giving workshops and things. It feels like it's been a nice break, but it's also been very stressful with the family stuff going on. So I'm excited of the possibilities of getting back into my coaching and the healing practice I do.
Absolutely. I don't love the fact that you guys have been having some family issues, but love that you are coming back and sharing your greatness with others, because I know I have been completely blessed by you and all that you do. So speaking about possibilities, what does that mean to you?
Well, I think that there's just something inherent that I like to look at the possibilities and look at the positives of what can be happening in somebody's life, or how we can grow from it, or how the possibilities of taking things away, and then what else you can do with that in the future. That's a big part of what I'm doing in my business, and it's a big part of what I have done in my life. Being able to it's not taking the lemons and making lemonade, but it is taking those lemons and figuring out what's this mean to us? What can we do with this? And then seeing what the possibilities are in the future. Like maybe it's a lemon meringue pie. It doesn't have to be lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
so really, many things you can make with lemons.
Possibilities is like an unbelievable opportunity to just dream and to plan and to just figure out exactly what you want to do.
Absolutely. I love it. And tonight the topic is life is exciting. So speak more to that.
Well, I guess I would have to say that, a lot of times you can create your own excitement. There's things that happen in your life and, life happens, right? And you can decide, are you going to look at this as, I'm a victim of my circumstances, or are you going to look at this as like, hey, this is an opportunity for me to change and grow and to hone some new skills and really, look at it as an exciting change in your life versus, something that's happening to you or, you're the victim of a situation. My dad has been very sick and, we've struggled with this a little bit because he feels like, his life is falling apart. He's losing his independence. We're getting ready to sell some of his stuff in his house and put his house on the market. And he's like, when you do all that, I won't have anything. And I'm like, well, let's look at all the stuff you do have and all the stuff you can have and how cool it's going to be to have, something new happening. Change is hard. It's really hard. And, if you can have the right people around you to support you with that and, help you look at it a little bit more optimistically. It doesn't have to be something so horrible that's happening in your life. It's good to go through those feelings and have those feelings. That is normal, right? But, do you have some people in your life, a support system or, something in that can help encourage you to look at what can be happening next in a positive way? Like what could come into your life because you're releasing all these things that have just been filling your house. Half the things, like 98% of the stuff he doesn't even ever use. So, what can come into your life? What can you be blessed with by releasing all these things? So, some of it's a perspective change. Some of it is, just being willing to be open to what might be coming.
Yeah. Yeah, because when we create space, something is going to come into it, right? And there's an endless possibility of what that might be. And so
exactly,
as we create space around us, it's good to be mindful of what are things that we would like to come into that space so that not just anything comes in, but what we're really wanting, those possibilities that we're wanting, those opportunities that we're wanting that take us forward, help us to become the people that we want to become, doing the things that we want to be doing, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Terry, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I love this conversation because I just feel like, I didn't always have this perspective or mindset in my life and used to think I was a victim or, I would blame other people for situations that were in my life that were challenging. And since I've really embraced the tools and strategies of fearless living, especially this one, which is, seeking opportunities and seeing challenges as opportunities and recognizing in my life that challenges in the past, I can now look at those and see what were the blessings, what were the opportunities that I would not have experienced had not those challenges been a part of my life. And so I remember listening to Tony Robbins doing a free webinar that I listened to, and he was saying, think of the worst day of your life, the worst thing that ever happened in your life as the best thing that ever happened in your life. And I thought, well, now, what is, how do you wrap your head around that? And then he had a couple of, people that had worked with him explain how that was in their lives, how what they had experienced, which they perceived to be the worst thing that ever happened in their life. And yet when they started thinking about it as being the best thing that ever happened in their life, they were able to find the blessings, the opportunities, what came out of that forward that kept them hopeful. And, really they were able to turn that around. And I think that was a really powerful thought that hasn't been that long ago. So it just added to my understanding and my belief in the fact that every opportunity, if you want to call it a challenge, you want to call it a struggle, whatever you want to call it, I'm going to call it an opportunity that comes to us in our lives, that we can either see that as a path to new understandings, to greater compassion, to gratitude, whatever it might be, it can take us further on our journey of living the life that we want to live, that we were intended and created to live. So I love this conversation, with Trish talking to her dad, and trying to help him to see that, this is a challenge. This is a whole big change in your life, and yet what can we see here that we can look at in a positive way? I think that's a great way of trying to help others to understand the opportunities that come to us, even in the most difficult of situations.
Terry, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that tool that you brought up. And one of the reasons why I love that is because it's almost like making where you would think like the worst time in your life, like the bottom, like you've hit bottom, and making that, a launching pad. It's almost like making that a launching pad for something, positive, because you turn the negative aspect of it into a positive, and then you're like, and what else? It's almost like, for me, it feels like I don't know, like it feels like a launching pad. So I love that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but it is a total mindset change, and I just feel like it certainly helps to relieve the stress, the fear of uncertainty, that can bring up fear for us. Just believing that, there's something here, there's something golden here that can launch me into my next, the next phase of my life,
Yeah. Well, and I think it's true that so often there's a lesson to be learned. There's a perspective to be gained. There's, the gratitude, just as you were saying, like that is, so often, if you can find that little kernel of positivity, or, and I look at learning lessons as a positive, because for me, I'm like a constant learner. That for me is like planting a seed of possibilities, right? It's like finding that little kernel, that little itsy bitsy piece of like, yes, a little ray of hope, I guess. So that's just, that's an important piece of this whole seeing the possibilities.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's definitely lessons that we learn in our lives that we would have rather learned it without having to go through it. But that's how we learned it, right? We learned it by going through that challenge or that painful point in our lives. That's how we learned the lesson. And most often, at least in my life, I wouldn't give up the lesson to not have to experience the pain, because the lesson has changed me in ways that I wouldn't give up. And and I think that is, my tongue got tied. Possibilities definitely can be a mind shift in the way that we look and we see things. It can definitely be used to look at our past, but I definitely think that it's exciting when we look towards our present moment and our future. And what are those things that we want to bring into our life? What are those things that we want to create space for? What are those things that we want to keep our eyes open and our ears open to see and hear when they present themselves, so that we can step out and say, yes, bring them on, and be able to embrace those possibilities and those opportunities and live more of an exciting life, a life that we feel like we're actually living, and staying in that present moment, and just being fully open to what comes And I think that's what is really exciting about possibilities is, yes, scary because it's new and it's unknown, but exciting because it's new and it's unknown. And so, keeping your mindset around that in freedom versus fear.
Yep, important.
Yeah. So, Trish, how do you support your clients to embrace this possibility mindset and shift to what they're looking at?
I think there's a couple of different ways that I typically will do that. I think one of the big ways that you can work with your clients is to work on reframing. And that's really that is really the exercise of looking at the things that are happening and reframing them, finding those seeds of hope, finding the lessons, and kind of reframing it so that it's not the victimhood. It's the, you went through this and you learned these things and now you can do this and take this forward into your life. And I think we practice awareness a lot as well. Awareness and reframing kind of go hand in hand with this exercise, right? Like really digging deep into what's happening. Clients can have a lot of stories and can retell their stories over and over and over and let that really become the theme of what's going on in their life. But if you can shift that and get them to really be aware, and maybe they want to tell the story about what they learned. Maybe they want to tell the story about, what hope came out of that, or, what the possibilities look like instead. That can really, put those lessons, put those thoughts, that power out to the universe to bring that forward to them and help them manifest it quicker. So I think awareness and reframing is part of that. I also think, with Fearless Living, we have those 3 daily practices. So I think the more you can really be compassionate with yourself, and that's the first one. It's compassion, it's honesty, and it's personal responsibility. If you can be honest or compassionate with yourself, and then honest with yourself about what's going on and how you're feeling, and and then look at personal responsibility, what you can control or not control, and and take some responsibility for your dreams as part of that personal responsibility, and kind of funnel the things that you're learning, your experiences, your lessons, into moving towards your goals or your dreams as part of that personal responsibility. It can really help you see the possibilities a lot better than what you might, just like, oh, I'm just dreaming. So seeing possibilities and dreaming is not necessarily the same thing.
I love that.
And if you see your possibilities and take some personal responsibility for it, you can really help move in that direction faster.
Mhm. Yeah. Speak more to seeing possibilities and dreaming aren't necessarily the same thing. It's,
dreaming, like I can dream about a lot of things, but, like I might have this big dream of being like, maybe I want to be an actress, or maybe I want to be a professional skier or gymnast, right? Like that could be a big dream. I always wanted to be an astronaut, and that was something that I dreamed all the time that I was growing up, but dreaming is just different. When you're looking at possibilities, there is a aspect of it of dreaming, but there's also a reality perspective of it too. And like as a coach, it's my role to work with my clients. So, they might have these dreams, and then we really base that in reality. We base it in, what actually, steps they can take to reach those goals and set those things in motion. So I always feel like possibilities has a reality perspective to it, has a action step to it versus, because it's something that you're looking to move into. Dreaming for me is just the process of dreaming, and it's not always focused on moving forward.
True.
How do you guys feel
True.
about
I love that. Yeah, I love that. I think, I always wanted, you said you wanted to be an astronaut. I always wanted to be a Broadway actress. And I dreamed about that as a kid, and then realized that really wasn't something that was going to happen for me. But I can still be on a stage. And I took that opportunity all growing up of being on stage, a physical stage, and now I'm on a virtual stage. This podcast is a stage that I'm standing up on, and I'm sharing what it is that I love and believe in and know to be true. And I share it with amazing women and coaches. And this is the stage I stand on. Every time I do a Facebook Live or a Reel or a TikTok, that's me standing on my virtual stage. And I can do that as much as I want to. And that's how I feel like I've stepped into and taken action on my dream.
Awesome.
Yeah. Terry, what about you?
Yeah, if you're talking about tools, I think gratitudes and acknowledgments and intentions are also tools of possibility, because gratitudes give you that opportunity to see the things that you can be grateful for, and acknowledgments give you that personal responsibility and that compassion for yourself. And setting intentions is, that's the practice of your willingness to be open to possibilities. I mean, I write a daily intention in my gratitude journal every day, and it's very frequently it has to do with those three foundational principles of compassion, honesty, and personal responsibility. And almost always it includes a willingness to be open to possibilities, to be open to receiving the abundance that's in my life, that's all around me, and being aware, because I think Trish brought up how important awareness is, and then willing to receive those possibilities, to receive those opportunities to, to reach my goals, to reach my dreams, to live my passion, to, become intentional and mindful in the way that I proceed through my day. So I think setting intentions helps me to be open to possibilities. Gratitude and acknowledgments help me as well in the area of compassion, honesty, and personal responsibility, to see and receive and be aware of all the possibilities that I've experienced during that day, and where I was personally responsible for accepting and receiving those possibilities in my life and acting on them.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah,
I love that,
all of
because
those
we were
tools.
Sorry, I was just
Go ahead,
going to
Trish.
say, Sarah and I kind of approach that from two different perspectives, that there's 3 daily practices. So I love that, right?
Yeah.
Being able to use the tools and have them totally in different ways that can really bring you to the same purpose. I think, or the same outcome. I think that's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are getting towards the end, ladies, which always comes so quickly. And I want to give Trish, wanted to give you time to share with the audience where they want to keep their eye open to seeing you, so that they can be right there when you start posting what you're going to be doing this summer.
Yeah, so you can certainly find me on Facebook at it's just Trish March is what I'm under, and then I will be posting on trishmarch.com as well when things start ramping up a little bit. I just have a little bit more balance I have to add to what's happening in my life, and get a little of my family in a little bit better stable position, and then I'll be able to jump back into pursuing my dream and the possibilities of rebuilding my coaching practice and my healing practice.
Awesome. Glad to hear it.
Watch for that.
And I will definitely have my eye open for it. Yeah. So
Thank you.
If there was one thing that you would want our listeners to walk away with tonight, what would it be?
I think that seeing the possibilities in all the different aspects of your life, light and dark, good and, well, not good and bad, but I mean light and dark, happy and, challenging, is really a muscle to keep working. And, the more you work it, the more you're going to be able to see, there's times where you're challenged the most, where there's, things, you don't feel like things are going your way. You'll be able to flip that switch a lot faster and move yourself into a state of possibilities. Like, all right, I see that things are happening like this. Like, what's next? What can I do? Like, how's this going to change for me? Or how's this going to lead me to something better? That having that mentality or perspective of possibilities can really just change all the areas of your life. And I think that, I just had a really good thought. I hate when that happens. I think the more you can plant those seeds and build that muscle, the quicker you can switch your mindset from that, challenge to the possibility.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Terry?
Yeah, I'd like to just add to that, City, to, switch, to switch on the practice of a new mindset. And I was thinking while you were talking about the frequency, length, and intensity, I think that, there's a good way for us to gauge our capacity to do that, to switch. And that is, how frequently do we fall into that victim, poor me? How frequent is it?
Yep.
How long does it last? Intense is it? And as we are able to incorporate that mindset internally, then that's just a really good clue to us. Oh, okay, yeah. I'm going to look at this in a different way, and it's going to happen less often. It will last, it will last a shorter amount of time, and it will be less intense. And I think that's a really good way also to use that foundational principles of honesty and personal responsibility. You're going to give yourself a break, yet how often is this still happening? How long does it last? And how intense is it? Is the way of being honest with yourself, and then having compassion that you've fallen into that little trap again, and then taking the personal responsibility to continue practicing so that it happens less often. And I think that I like that tool as well to go along with the capacity to monitor ourselves, because that's also personal responsibility, being able to monitor our feelings and our thoughts and actions, and then switch and go to this is a challenge, but here's the opportunity within the challenge, or I'm ready for the opportunity in this moment, or I'm going to receive this opportunity whenever it presents itself. So I like that, the FLY acronym, the frequency, length, and intensity as well.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Good thought.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Trish, so much for being here with us tonight. We so appreciate it, especially since you stayed up late to be with us. We know that's not always easy, and so we appreciate you and your time and all you give.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate you having me here with you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. We want to remind you that the 12 Steps to Freedom were created by Rhonda Britton, the CEO and founder of the Fearless Living Institute. If you would like to know more about Fearless Living, please go check it out at fearlessliving.org. You can find Terry and I at fearlessgenerations.org, and we want you to go over there and check it out. We have all kinds of workshops that we do every month, at least 2, and we have a great Facebook group for you to be a part of, and we're on all social media as Fearless Generations. So please go check it out, share it with your friends, and until next week, everybody, be fearless.
Bye.
Be fearless. Bye.
Thank you, Trish.